Hotel History is created for adult audiences. Content may not be suitable for all listeners. Discretion is advised. You're listening to Hotel History. We take you with us through the sordid history and scandals of some of the world's most famous and infamous hotels. I'm Dieta.
And I'm Yael. Let's get started. Welcome back to this podcast. I never know what to say. Welcome back.
We're very excited to have you guys. You will be happy to know that today's will probably be a little shorter. So if you looked at episodes 1 and 2 and said, no, thank you, please, then this one's for you.
Yeah, today we're going to be covering the Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel. We're really excited to finally move on from the plaza.
So excited.
I'm so relieved.
Like, we had to cross the entire continent to get as far away from it.
Oh yeah, we're in LA right now. I mean, we're literally in LA, but we're also podcast in LA. Okay, so let's start out with some of the history of this pretty famous hotel.
Yes, which is located right on Hollywood Boulevard, next part of the Walk of Fame. For those who haven't been here.
Yeah, it's part of the, like, if you're taking a tour of Hollywood, then your tour guide is gonna point it out.
Yes.
I mean, if they're a good tour guide.
Yes, it's directly across the street from the famous Grauman's Chinese Theater, so you're absolutely gonna see it.
Okay, so the hotel was built in 1926, and it had a couple of investors. It pretty famous, especially at the time. It was Mary Pickford, Douglas Fairbanks, Sid Grauman, and Louis B. Mayer. All of these people are they're the original old Hollywood. They created the production companies. Mary Pickford was a famous actress. Louis B. Mayer made MGM, and Douglas Fairbanks also, I think he was married to Mary Pickford. They basically, they made this hotel so when people came from the East Coast, they would have a place to stay, especially around the Hollywood area. And they built this hotel for $2.5 million, which I think in today's money is it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Like 40 million or something, maybe more. I don't have a calculator. I mean, I can do it, but I don't know. I don't know. And they named the hotel after the 26th president, Theodore Teddy Roosevelt. People really liked him. And I think there's another Roosevelt in New York also.
Yeah.
And named after him. A lot of things were named after him. The Roosevelt has 320 rooms, 38 suites, and 65 poolside cabana rooms, and it's a National Historic Landmark.
Yes. The hotel itself is a landmark, and then the pool separately from the hotel is also a landmark.
Yeah, because David Hockney, the artist in the 1980s, painted a mural at the bottom of the pool, which is still there today. It has like these little loopy lines, these little half
swooshes.
Yeah.
Maybe meant to look like waves. I don't know.
They look like parentheses.
Yeah.
All different.
I'm not going to lie. I wasn't super impressed. I was like, this is art?
But like, if you were a famous artist and they're like, you want to do a mural in our pool? What is he going to do?
Yeah, that's true.
It's going to get destroyed. So you're not going to put that much effort. But it's still
but
there.
It's worth millions now.
Well, that wasn't his decision. I don't know. Did they pay him $1 million?
He was a really popular British street artist at the time. So probably. Oh. I don't know.
Okay. Well, then, good for him.
Yeah.
So this hotel, it's been around, obviously, for a long ass time, almost 100 years. And it has a history. And a lot of people visit the hotel, obviously for the convenience, but it's apparently really haunted. So many celebrities have stayed there, and especially since it was, it was there at the founding
Yeah, this was the
of
spot to
Hollywood.
be in the
Yeah.
heyday of Hollywood. And then more recently as well.
Yeah. And should we go over some of the interesting claims people say, like the haunting,
Oh,
the
definitely.
ghosts that stay there? I think, listen, people need to stop saying things as fact. I was there and I saw Marilyn Monroe. No, you didn't. You did not see Marilyn Monroe in the mirror. Or the best is they didn't see them, but they heard someone else. It's like very word of mouth, broken telephone of ghost stories. But they're like, and this really happened. Unless you have it on recording. Just, yeah. And it's always a different story each time. But so we got some famous haunted stories.
Obviously, Marilyn Monroe, since you just mentioned
Yeah.
her. We can start with her.
Okay, so Marilyn Monroe lived in the hotel for 2 years. When she first started out in the industry, she was a model, and she stayed at the suite, which you can still rent out today.
Yeah, I think it's room 229. It's one of the cabanas by the pool.
And it's apparently in its original structural design. So they didn't like tear down any walls. I mean, the hotel went through a lot of renovations, but the basic parts of it is there, it's the same.
Yeah, and it has a very chic 50s design to it with the furniture and everything.
Yeah. We went to the hotel, but we didn't get to see that room.
Yeah, it's I'm sure it's probably booked a lot. I think it's one of their most popular rooms.
Apparently, people who stay in the hotel would see her in this long mirror that they had there, and it would freak them out. And the staff even claimed to see her, and because it was so freaky and creeped everyone out, that they asked if they can remove the mirror. They did, and then they put the mirror at the landing of the stairs in the lobby. You can go see the mirror. You can see the mirror there now if you want. You can just go in. People claim to see her when they're looking in the mirror. I don't think that's true.
Yeah, although the security guard there did tell us that even the housekeeping staff was refusing to go in there because they kept seeing her.
No, but that's the same old story.
Yeah, of course it
That's,
is. But
he's
you
just
gotta
repeating
keep
himself.
how else are they going to get people in there? Come on, they need a good
No,
story.
I think they're milking it. I think they should. I think they're doing a
yeah.
great job, and they should keep up with the stories, and they should also enhance
and
people's
they're
experience.
definitely trying to enhance and build on it because they claim that JFK gave her the mirror. Which
Okay, but we already
makes
poked a
zero
hole
sense
in that, yeah.
because the timeline does not add up. She didn't meet JFK for another decade at least when she lived there. So yeah, that part I'm like, if you saw a ghost or whatever, that's fine, but don't try to make extra stuff up that is clearly unfactual.
Well, that's my problem. It's that there's too many holes in these stories. And also, if anything, it would be Arthur Miller that gave her the mirror, because even though it was later, Arthur Miller and her met at the
Cinegrill, yeah, in the Roosevelt.
In the Roosevelt. So I think, you see, I think that is more likely, you know. And people just don't care about Arthur Miller as much as they care about JFK.
He's not as flashy.
No. And there's so the pool, I feel like the Roosevelt was just one of those hotels that she hung out a lot, because she also did an advertising. She did a whole photo shoot for an advertisement for suntan lotion. It was her first ad at the pool on the diving board. So, it turns out maybe she just really liked the pool and the hotel. I don't know.
Yeah, because I think she did that ad when she was living there, right?
I think so. Maybe towards
that
the
ad
end.
was one of her first big commercial shoots after her transformation into Marilyn.
Oh yeah, because she wasn't blonde before,
Right?
She had like brunette hair.
Yeah, she was a redhead, like strawberry.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What was her name?
Norma Jean.
Norma Jean, right? Okay, I always forget. You know what? She's a smart lady. She really, she's like, no one's gonna remember that. And okay, so another famous celebrity who stayed there and who apparently haunts the halls of this hotel is Montgomery Clift. He's an old actor. He also he had his own room. He stayed there for 3 months while filming the movie From Here to Eternity. If you haven't seen it, if you don't know who he is, you should check him out. He was cute. Like, I know, because you know these old actors are like, he was so handsome. A lot of them, I'm like, no. But there are some.
Yeah.
Montgomery Clift, James Dean, and what that guy, that other name?
Cary Grant?
No, not Cary Grant. I don't think Cary Grant is cute.
I wouldn't call him cute, but I think he's handsome.
I don't even think he's handsome. I think he's
William Holden?
charming. No, William Holden also has like this old. He's
Paul Newman?
handsome-ish. Paul Newman
Or Marlon Brando?
Well, young Marlon Brando.
Yeah, young, obviously.
Yeah, but no, Paul Newman, James Dean, and Montgomery Clift, I think are objectively cute. Like they were. If there's a reason they were famous. I just think there's certain people that have the look, and there's a reason they're famous. Montgomery Clift, one of them, old actor. So he was at the hotel, staying there while filming From Here to Eternity. And if you don't know that movie, so you know the famous scene where there's that man and that woman kissing on the beach where the waves are washing over them? That's that movie. It was with Deborah Kerr. Very scandalous. That was like, that caused, some people really were upset about that. I'm just saying. Anyways, so in the movie, he has a scene where he's playing the trumpet or I guess a bugle is a trumpet. It's a kind of trumpet.
Similar, but the trumpet has the keys to help you change the notes, and the bugle, you have to do it all with your lips.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I would not know the difference, but thank you for that.
Absolutely, band nerd at your service.
Yeah. So he's playing the bugle, and he would practice in the hallway or practice in his room, and people can hear it. And to this day, people claim they hear someone playing the trumpet or the bugle late at night, but no one's there.
And pacing.
Right
through the hall.
Yeah.
And he was on the 9th floor at that time. So if you stay on the 9th floor.
Oh, right. But we couldn't get to that. We didn't get to it, but we will. We'll come back. Yeah. So people claim they see Marilyn Monroe in the mirror. They hear Montgomery Clift, just playing the bugle and pacing.
Oh, another ghost story was that about in the ballroom, they claimed to see someone playing the piano, right?
Oh, yeah, because it was the Blossom Ballroom, and that's where they held the first Academy Awards in 1929. And apparently the guy was playing
there was a separate guy in a tuxedo.
Oh,
in
that
there
was
that's supposedly he's waiting for an award that he never got. So there are 2 different gentlemen that have been seen in the ballroom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I went to the Magic Castle, and they have a piano that magically plays by itself. So I'm not so impressed. I don't think it's a
also
ghost.
known as a player piano.
Yeah.
I have one of those.
Oh, you do? Okay. Well, then there you go. It's not a ghost. It's just technology.
Just don't look behind the curtain.
Yeah.
Wizard of Oz style. But yeah, the first Academy Awards were held there, as Yael was saying. And I love that the award ceremony itself was less than 20 minutes. Like, I've heard some people say 5, some say 10 to 15.
How is that possible? I guess it wasn't a big deal. They're just like, and blah, blah. Here you go.
Yeah, they
blah,
probably
blah.
wasn't nearly as much pomp and circumstance as there is now. They probably just read them all out.
Yeah, there was like 15 people there.
Yeah, and they didn't have their nickname of the Oscars yet. That came later.
Oh, that's true. I mean, it's the first one. I can see why it's it's not going to be as grandiose as it is now, but it's kind of cool that it was so quick and in such a small space, because you go there and it's big, but it's not.
Yeah, it's not
big
huge
enough for the Oscars.
Yeah, not for what the Oscars are now.
Okay, so another ghost story, or is it a ghost story or just like another famous like couple that stayed there was Clark Gable and Carol Lombard, and they have their own suite where they stayed and they had their affair. Apparently, they were
that's where they would rendezvous.
Yeah, when they were still married to different people, and it's a gorgeous penthouse. You have access to a separate entrance to the roof of the hotel, which is really cool. You can see the sign and everything. It's a 3,000 square feet duplex, has a huge bedroom, bathrooms, a living area, a dining area, which really just looks like a wet bar.
Yeah.
It's not. It's just they were really into their alcohol. And yeah, and they apparently have a lot of after parties there and like events, right?
Yeah, like after premieres, they have after parties there.
But I don't know that, I don't think that's haunted. Although some people claim that they'll hear a couple. I think it's one of those like we hear people, but they're not there, or they get phone calls at rooms that aren't being used. Like the reception desk would be like, "Oh, hello," and no one's there, and they're like, "Who called?" And another old actress, well-known, Shirley Temple, used to practice her little dance on the steps, on the original steps. So the steps in the lobby that go to the mezzanine are the original tile and steps, right?
Yeah, and her teacher and co-star was Bill Bojangles Robinson, and they would practice. I think specifically they practiced the routine that they did in the Little Colonel, which is them dancing up and down stairs.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. It's perfect stairs.
Perfect spot.
And do people hear Shirley Temple dance or see her? I don't know.
No one's mentioned it.
There's another ghost story that there's a little girl, Caroline,
right,
who's looking for her mother because she drowned or something in the pool. There's a weird story. Did you hear this?
No, I didn't hear. I remember that something about a little girl, but I didn't hear the reason.
So it has like a tragic story behind it. Either she drowned or her parents drowned, and she's looking for her parents, and people are like, "Who are you?" And no one has really seen the girl, but people claim to see the girl, and it just apparently she's just like, "Listen, if all the other ghosts are haunting this place, why not just hang out here?" And also, they claim to hear or see someone at the pool late at night, and the security calls the other security guard and says, "Can you tell the person in the pool to get out?" The guy goes there, no one's there. He sees on the security camera that like there's still someone there. It's like one of those, who can we interview the security people who saw, like, what?
Yeah. Do you still have, is it recorded footage? Like, can we see this?
Yeah. Isn't that convenient? This whole thing happened on a security camera, but there's no recording of it. Well, you can't see, they can't get recorded. What? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of questions I have. So, at the grand opening of the Roosevelt Hotel, a lot of stars came because it was created by famous people and celebrities. And so they had like the red carpet come out. And the people that attended was Will Rogers, Charlie Chaplin, Harold Lloyd. Who's Harold Lloyd?
I don't know.
But he was a part of the list, so he must have...
At the time, in the late 20s, he was someone.
Yeah. Clara Bow, Greta Garbo, Gloria Swanson, and just, I think Charlie Chaplin... Yeah, I said Charlie Chaplin. Charlie Chaplin has his own plaque outside the hotel. I guess he also stayed there for quite a bit. If you don't know any of these people...
Oh, Harold Lloyd was an actor, comedian, and stunt performer in, I think, silent movies at the time.
Oh, okay. Yeah, all these people were super famous. And I would say, if you are interested in the history of Hollywood, look them up, read about them. They have fascinating, like, life stories. It's really sad. It will make you depressed.
Yeah.
But they're all really talented, and they all came out. And other notable guests that stayed there. There was Frances Farmer, another old actress, some famous authors, H.G. Wells, F. Scott Fitzgerald. We know that Fitzgerald really liked staying at hotels.
And drinking, so
his favorite
thing. Be right up his alley. Same with Hemingway.
Oh, and Hemingway stayed there too, yeah.
Yeah, Hemingway used a room there that's now called the Writer's Room, which is like a little kind of private speakeasy bar that you can use for events. That's where he kind of used that space as a writing retreat, and a lot of screenwriters apparently used to use it as well. So if you're feeling that, you can actually rent out that little space for like private events.
Oh, and it connects to their nightclub.
Oh, right. Teddy's.
Teddy's.
Right.
It has its own entrance. So basically, if you want to rent out like half of the Roosevelt's lobby, you can.
Yeah, and actually, speaking of the tragic stories of behind some of these famous Hollywood people, so we mentioned that Clark Gable and Carol Lombard would stay in the penthouse, which is now named after them, while they were having their affair. At the time, it actually only cost them $5 a night, which is about $90 in today's money. Today, you can stay there for $3,500 if you are so inclined. But there are actually tunnels underneath the hotel that connect the Chinese theater across the street with the Roosevelt, probably for bootlegging. But Gable and other actors would use those tunnels to exit the theater and go back to the hotel so that they didn't have to go on the street.
I bet you a lot of celebrities.
Yeah.
To avoid the paparazzi or the crowds.
Yeah, the crowds. Yeah. But so Clark Gable and Carol Lombard had kind of a tragic end to their relationship. At the time, they were having an affair, but they did eventually get married. And Clark Gable became a widower because Carol Lombard's plane actually crashed into Mount Potosi outside of Las Vegas, I think, or somewhere in Nevada.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah, she had a plane crash and all 21 people died. It crashed into the mountain due to pilot error, I know. And actually at the time, Clara Bow had some property somewhere near the mountain and saw the fire and didn't know what it was, but she saw the plane crash without realizing it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and apparently Clark Gable was, of course, distraught, and he tried to go like climb up the mountain to get to the wreckage to see if anyone was still alive, and finally people managed to talk him out of that.
Oh my God, that's so sad.
Yeah, so
I had no idea.
Lots of
oh wow,
tragedy in these Hollywood lives.
Yeah. So bummed out by that.
I know. So let's talk about Errol Flynn.
Yeah. Well, I just like to also mention that tunnels in LA is really common.
Yeah.
Especially at the time. There are a bunch of tunnels, especially downtown LA, under businesses, city, like government buildings. I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble. I've been to some of the tunnels.
Oh, that's so cool.
I went on a date, and the guy took me for like our second or third date or something to these. Realizing now that was kind of stupid. I didn't really know him that well, and he took me to these empty tunnels. But it was so cool, and oh my God, it like half of them are cut off because these tunnels would go under and go to different establishments to basically like traffic drugs and alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe less so drugs, but I'm sure. I mean, drugs were all legal when the alcohol was illegal, so maybe not the drugs, but a lot of sketchy things. Also to take money if they needed to, like one place to another. I mean, it was just a lot of stuff like that. And I'm not surprised that not LA, but Hollywood, because it happened downtown, and then Hollywood obviously is like a little farther, but they got that idea and they're like, ooh, let's just use a tunnel to avoid everything. But after, they also did this because it was possible to do it in a small amount of space. Like all of downtown is kind of small compared to all of LA, so they weren't going to make tunnels to go all the way to Beverly Hills. But at the time, it made sense.
Yeah.
And it's just weird that LA has got some sketchy history, you know? And so it brings us to Prohibition, and another famous guy who stayed at the hotel. His name was Errol Flynn.
He was very good friends, apparently, with L. Ron Hubbard, but never converted to Scientology. Probably because he was friends with its creator.
I mean, he probably knew his friend was full of shit. Yeah. He's like, man, you really got that.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, if my best friend decided to start a religion, I'd be like, that's awesome. Obviously, I'm not going to convert to it, but that's hilarious. So I guess the Scientology building is just a few blocks away.
Oh, I mean, there's a really big Scientology, because I used to live on a Hollywood and Highland. So I would pass these things all day, and I would pass the Scientology building, and they would always freaking ask me, you want to come in and take a personality test? I'm like, no, I know my personality. I'm a bitch. Leave me alone. Like, and I would recognize them. I'm like, I told you yet. Cause I would walk to work and they were like, hi again. I'm like, no, we had this conversation yesterday. And then they started to recognize me and avoid me. And it worked. I was like, okay, good. Stop talking to me. But I mean, they were
That's
nice.
great.
I feel bad, but I'm not going to join your cult.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, so Errol Flynn was apparently a little bit of a creep, in addition to being
he's a big creep.
in addition to being a known womanizer, he was also a voyeur and he had two-way mirrors in the women's bathroom in his mansion. Yuck. He and L. Ron Hubbard would party with drugs and underage girls. I believe he was accused of statutory rape, right? Was he convicted?
No, I think he was accused, but he definitely he got accused of a lot of things that weren't true later, like after he died and people wrote stories about him. But there were a lot of things that I think what happened is that he did a lot of sketchy things, was never caught on those, but was accused of all the things he didn't do. That's when I read it. That's what it felt like. But he was disgusting because he wouldn't just only have the two-way mirrors in the bathroom of his mansion. He had peepholes everywhere. Gross. And like it was written up about in the paparazzi or in their whatever magazine.
Yeah, in their tabloids at the time and stuff. Well, he also during his time staying at the Roosevelt when he was younger, this was during Prohibition. So in the back room of their barbershop that was in the hotel, he made a bathtub gin, probably used the tunnels underneath the Roosevelt to get it where it needed to go.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, maybe that's how he started. He got all his connections in Hollywood. He's like, you give me a roll, I give you some alcohol. Yep. There's a theme with these hotels that are really old with the plaza too, with the, Yeah. There's always something with that. But he how long did he stay in the Roosevelt? I don't think we know. He just like frequent the Roosevelt. He was there enough to have a reputation that he was there. Let's just say that.
Exactly, yeah.
And I don't think it's a coincidence that he's best friend with L. Ron Hubbard, the creator of Scientology, at a hotel that is right next to all its like Scientology buildings. And the famous celebrity Scientology places like a few miles away, in Los Feliz. So kind of like the guy made this, came back to the hotel, partied with his friend, and then went on his merry way doing whatever the hell he was doing.
Yeah. Oh, and he was also friends with William Randolph Hearst. So he knew quite the movers and shakers.
Oh, yeah. He would go to his castle. And I believe in San Simeon. And if you haven't gone to the castle, I've gone to the castle. It's a museum now. You can go and get it is so cool. I would go again because it's so big. You can only do like one tour at a time. So you can see like certain parts of it, but not the whole thing.
Oh, okay.
I wonder if it's still open.
Oh, and for those who don't know, Hearst was a newspaper publisher and politician. He was known for developing the nation's largest newspaper chain.
Yeah, and his granddaughter or daughter, Patricia Hearst, is the one that got kidnapped.
I think, yeah.
And she then, what's it called? She got kidnapped and then like ended up agreeing with her captive.
Oh, like Stockholm Syndrome?
Yes, I think the idea of Stockholm Syndrome started
there.
So really a lot of he had a really interesting life. I learned a little bit about it when I was at the Hearst Castle, but that man, he had a lot of money. Yeah. And I still think that his organization is still I believe Condé Nast. Isn't that?
Oh, I don't know.
Hearst? I don't know. I mean, these are rich people that I'm not going to claim things that aren't true. I'll find out about the Condé Nast thing if it's owned by Hearst Company or not. But he's a big newspaper guy. And also a fun fact, something that it's all connected in the celebrity world. So Louis B. Mayer, one of the guys who started the Roosevelt and MGM and was a big, basically Hollywood creator, was friends with William Randolph Hearst. And William Randolph Hearst would fund movies, and he would agree because then he would get the movie reviews in his newspaper.
Oh.
And it was like all connected in that
he would friends helping friends.
Yeah. It's who you know, networking.
Yes. Oh, and another friend of Flynn's was actor David Niven.
Oh yeah, David Niven. I have no idea how to say his name.
Me either.
I'm messing up everyone's name right now. Anyways.
You might recognize. I didn't recognize his name, but I recognized his face. He in a lot of those old movies, he had that very kind of stuffy British character. But he roomed in the servants' quarters at the Roosevelt when he first came to Hollywood.
Oh, like he just. Was he paying, or was he like, hey, can you let me crash? Like, what? I don't know. We don't know. But I find that
maybe
interesting.
He got like a cheaper rate.
You know what's cool about
maybe
the olden
he was
days?
just friends with someone who worked there.
That was like an option. Also, we mentioned this before, living in a hotel was an actual option for people who had no money. Mm-hmm. It wasn't like...
Yeah, because Marilyn Monroe had very little money when she was first starting out, but she lived in several hotels.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was just a different, supply and demand.
Yeah.
It wasn't fancy. It was like a necessity. But the fact that this guy, he could just stay in the living quarters of whatever. Okay, go to a hotel right now, move to a new city and be like, hey, I have nowhere to go. Can I give you like $10 a night and stay in your closet? They're going to be like, no. Yeah. I think there was no such thing as liability back then.
Yeah, true.
The rules were different. That would have been cool, though, to just stay in the Roosevelt. But you know what I realized? If he stayed with all the, the servants and the workers there, he got access to everything. He probably got, like, free food. I mean...
Well, and if all of these celebrities and people are staying there all the time, then he can just kind of hang out and
network. Oh my God, guys, this is all making sense. Everyone hung out at the Roosevelt and networked, and that's why they're all famous.
Yeah. And it says Mary Martin began her singing career performing at the Cinegirl for $35 a week. I'm not actually familiar with Mary Martin.
She might have been the Hildegard
of the time
of the Roosevelt.
Of the Roosevelt.
If you don't know what we're referring to, listen to our first two episodes.
Yep, I guess I missed looking up that one.
35 a week, that's really good for back in the day. I mean, I think so, because like people would get paid like $2 a week.
Oh, she's from Texas. Let's see what Google says. A muse of Rodgers and Hammerstein, she originated many leading roles on stage over her career, including Nellie Forbush in South Pacific. Okay, now I feel bad that I didn't know her name because she was the title character. She was Peter Pan. She was like the original Peter Pan. Duh. And she also originated Maria von Trapp in The Sound of Music. Wow, I feel like the worst Broadway nerd right now that I didn't know her name.
Well, I'm not a Broadway nerd, so I don't feel
so
bad
I'm
at
not
all.
Like a super, but I feel like I love all of those musicals I should have known.
This is like 100 years ago.
Yeah.
How are you supposed to know?
I loved Peter Pan whenever I was a kid.
I thought it was played by a man.
No, it's traditionally the role of Peter Pan was always played by a woman until more recently. Mm-hmm.
I had no idea.
So
I learned something new.
I feel so bad that I didn't know who.
Well, she obviously was not that famous, even if she played in those roles.
At the time, though, I'm sure she was very famous.
Yeah, I don't even think she was that famous at the time. Broadway. How famous are Broadway actresses that don't move to film and TV?
Well, in the late 20s, the Broadway films couldn't exist yet because it was all
not the films,
film.
but I think like. Maybe you're right. I'm thinking with my modern brain. Forget it. So also to mention, obviously, since the movie is not the movie, but the hotel is a place for all the celebrities. It also is seen in a bunch of films and TV shows.
Yeah, like you see the outside of it in establishing shots and TV shows that are supposed to take place in LA all the time.
It's in so many things, not like there's the stock footage of Hollywood. It's going to be there, but I think okay, so we can list off some of the things that were filmed there. So the movie Sunset, which I've never seen, but it makes sense.
1988.
That it would,
yep,
catch all the Hollywood places. Mighty Joe Young.
Also haven't seen that.
But I remember when it came out.
I do too.
And the finale, or the final season, of the hit show Dexter. So I think the interior was, the lobby was used to be a hotel in Miami. So it wasn't the Roosevelt in the show, but they filmed in the Roosevelt. They filmed
it there, yeah. I remember in an episode of Lucifer, he and one of the other characters have a dramatic conversation on the roof of the Roosevelt.
Oh, yeah? The roof is awesome.
Yeah.
I think they had a lot of people film there. It's just like you see everything. It's clean and safe. They have those.
Yeah, if you stay there, they do yoga classes on the roof.
Yeah, but you have to pay.
Yeah, you have to pay. But
it's like kind of overpriced. Really cool. It's like $35 or something. What else? Okay, so Catch Me If You Can was filmed there. Eternal Affairs, Beverly Hills Cops 2, Entourage, I Love Lucy, Lucifer, as you mentioned.
Actually forgot to mention during the Prohibition era, the as just like New York, there was tons of mafia gangster things going down. Especially like LA was not like it is now. A lot of the area was not incorporated yet, and so there was not solid law enforcement, and so a lot of these shadier things could go down. So Bugsy Siegel actually was murdered at his mansion in Beverly Hills. And the story goes, which no one knows if it's true or not, of course, but the story goes that Mickey Cohen, one of his cohorts, went to the Roosevelt and fired a couple of rounds into the ceiling of the lobby, calling for whoever murdered him to come out basically and face him. And while we were there, one of the hotel employees pointed out to us what was supposedly the gunshot.
It looked legit.
Like it kind of looked like it.
Or they were too cheap to fix.
Yeah, or there was just the wood splintering, and they were like, "Oh, well, that's the gunshot."
It looked like a hole, though.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely looked like it could have been some damage, and it's the original ceiling, so it definitely could have been. Although I read that it's that Mickey Cohen it made more sense that Mickey Cohen would have actually been in on Siegel's murder because he stood to inherit he was next in line.
It could have, so but then it makes sense he would do that.
Yeah, so then it's just a big display.
It's a display,
come out and
he didn't shoot anyone but the ceiling.
Yeah, and then he left when the police showed up.
Oh, okay, so it wasn't even there to actually figure. It makes sense.
The drama.
Yeah. I like that, though. I like that there was that old, gangster history that they have. But yeah, I feel like LA is still lawless.
Yeah.
I tell you this all the time.
Ways, yeah.
I'm like, where are the cops when you need the things I've seen? I grew up in New York, and I have never seen the things I've seen in LA. When I first moved here, I've seen so many people get arrested. I was in shock. I would stare, but now I'm like, all right, whatever. It's just a regular Tuesday. People getting arrested everywhere. Yeah, so the hotel actually in the beginning does pretty well because it's meant for, Hollywood. It had the Academy Awards, all this stuff. But then it kind of goes into a decline in the 1950s. So I think other things were being built. It was a booming town, LA, Hollywood. And so the Roosevelt was kind of like old news.
Yeah.
So it starts to kind of go into disrepair. One owner takes over and demolishes the archway. So everything that made the hotel unique, the beautiful it
had
Spanish
a Spanish
style,
colonial architecture. Mm-hmm.
Someone came in and was like, no, let's just cover it and put an ugly green.
Oh my gosh.
They destroyed the archways. They covered up the elaborate paintings of the ceilings, which are original.
Yeah, we're going to put some photos of the ceilings on our Instagram. They're gorgeous. They've since
It's a really nice hotel.
they've since renovated and restored a lot of it.
And so they covered everything up. There's a mezzanine there. So if you go, the stairs go up to, like, you can look down.
Mm-hmm.
They made that into one floor. So they covered up this. Yeah, I think someone was telling us that. And just they made it. They keep doing this to hotels. They're like, you know what? Let's just get rid of everything that makes it special and unique and beautiful,
Mm-hmm.
and let's put some ugly ass stuff in there. Guess what, guys? It doesn't work. People still don't want to come to the hotel when it's uglier. They almost come close to tearing down the hotel in the 1980s, but someone comes and rescues it. A luxury hotel chain, the Radisson, bought the historic hotel and restores it back to its former glory, spends about $35 million on renovations, and, basically brings it back to what its original,
Thank God,
beauty
because
was supposed to be.
Gorgeous now.
Mm-hmm.
It's so beautiful.
And they even, they go into the basement, they find this beautiful wrought iron chandelier and fixed it. Spent like 6 months putting it back together. Someone just like threw it in the just why? You have a beautiful free chandelier. Why would you take it down and just throw it in the basement? Like, what was going through?
Not ugly enough,
Not
apparently.
ugly. Well, they're like, we need to really cover up that painted ceiling and that beautiful chandelier with seafoam crap. So we're gonna have to get rid of it. Yeah. They come back. They fix it. It's still there. If you go, it's beautiful. And they also, they know the history of this hotel. So they use the old Hollywood stories and they decorate the whole hotel with it, with different kinds of, memorabilia from the golden era. They have old movie cameras that they used to film Gone with the Wind. They display just like everything that they could possibly find. I don't know what else they have. They have like a bunch of old stuff. Yeah. And it's a part of like the charm. So they did good. I think they did a good job preserving that history. So the hotel has like a bunch of different bars, restaurants, secret rooms. And one of the famous rooms they have, or the famous bars, is the Cinegrill. Am I saying it right? Mm-hmm. Okay, last time I said it wrong. So it's really cute. It's like this little bar theater, and you go in with, it's a kind of a speakeasy. You have to open, there's, I'm not explaining this well at all, but there's a bookshelves and it has all these books, but of course none of them, they're not real. And you have to like, you push it and then the door opens and you go into the theater. And this Cinegrill,
so it's a theater now. Now it's like
now.
A fully functioning movie theater that you can actually buy tickets and go see. They do classic films there once a week.
Oh yeah, we got to go in and you get free popcorn.
Yeah, you get free popcorn. You get, I think you also get complimentary glass of wine included with your ticket price.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't give us
and
that.
They have they have a famous film critic that also like hosts the evening and talks about the classic movie that you're going to watch.
Oh,
so
really?
Something really cool. Yeah, it's really
okay.
Cool.
We need to actually go there.
Yeah, we're gonna have to go
spend a full amount.
Yeah,
of
they were
time
they were so nice to let us in. That they let us go in and look around and take photos, even though we weren't gonna buy a ticket and watch the movie at this particular visit. But so they were very, very accommodating.
Yeah,
major shout out.
Yeah. Oh, we'll go. We'll talk about everything we did because we got the scoop when we went there. Yeah, so this now theater in the 40s was a nightclub, and it also it went through a transformation throughout the years. Marilyn Monroe back in the 40s, she would go there, she would have her table. I mean, everyone was there. It's really cute. And what else? Oh, in 1991, LA declares the hotel a historic landmark. So after the renovations, after it was brought back to life to its original glory, LA's like, well, I guess now we can say it's worth something.
Now that it's not green, it's worth something.
Yeah. I'm sure people like petitioned for that. 1995, the hotel is purchased by Goodwin Gaw and David Chang. They still own it today. It was managed by a hotel group. It got another renovation for $30 million in 2005. And then in 2015, another $25 million renovation. But now it's run independently by its own management.
Wow, the amount of money they have put into this hotel is insane. It shows, though. Like, it's well spent. It looks great.
Yeah. No, and they have so many things. They have 2 restaurants. So they have like when you walk in to the right, there's a restaurant called 25 Degrees, and it's like burgers and casual American food. Then you go in, and then there's a fancier restaurant called the Barish. I don't think it was there the whole time. I think it might have gone through some other experimental like chefs, or I don't know if it was always the Barish. I could be full of crap right now. It could have always been that restaurant, but I've been in there before. I did not notice it, and this time I noticed it was like a nice restaurant. So they try to make use of every space they have. The ballroom is rented out often for concerts, which we saw. There was a candlelight musical event. It's like these. How do I explain it? Literally, candlelights are everywhere.
Yeah, they have candles just everywhere on the floor. It's this beautiful candlelit evening, and then there was a jazz group performing.
Oh yeah, and each concert has a different theme. And I think we went to the Amy Winehouse. We didn't go. We snuck it by accident. But then we left,
just trying to see what was behind a door.
And it was all Amy Winehouse. It was really nice. And also, during the 2000s, you wanted to mention something about...
of some of the other people that have stayed there basically after these renovations, the hotel became really trendy with celebrities again. So Paris Hilton and Lindsay Lohan were always hanging out by the pool. In the mid 2000s, Olympic gold medalist Shaun White regularly stayed there until he thought it was a good idea to dive off of the roof into the pool. He did not die. He was fine. But I guess the Roosevelt decided he was a liability and told him he could no longer stay there.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
That's what the hell is wrong with him?
He was a snowboarder. He's part of the X Games. Like, that's...
Oh, that's true.
That's their life.
But still, how deep is that pool? That's
scary. I have no idea. Yikes. Yeah. Prince actually had a room renovated for him, like the interior design done for him whenever he had a residency there in 2007. We got to see inside there. It was really, really cool. It had this gigantic metal bathtub that didn't look super
It didn't
comfortable.
look comfortable, and it looked cold and weird. But, I don't know why they changed that up just for him, but I guess it was worth it.
I guess it's Prince. You do what Prince asks.
It was a small room. And it's attached to the Gable and Lombard suite.
Yeah, it's attached to the penthouse. So I kind of imagine he probably stayed in the whole thing, and then just maybe that was the bedroom he chose.
Yeah. Or if someone wants to rent out, like, you can connect it.
Yeah, so I'm sure he had the whole penthouse.
So, as you said, during the early 2000s, the Roosevelt became very trendy and like a hotspot for all these celebrities. And the hotel didn't really like that. So at the end of 2006, they kind of wanted to sever ties with this like party image, and they scaled back on what they allowed in their hotel. But some things, or some people that had, stayed there and partied there, was Bruce Willis, Kristen Dunst, Lindsay Lohan, Eva Longoria, Jake Gyllenhaal, Scarlett Johansson, Paris Hilton, Nicole Richie, Topher Grace, Hugh Hefner, Eva Mendes. And in 2005, Courtney Love passed out at the hotel and was taken away by paramedics.
Yikes. Courtney.
Okay. Yeah, I can see why they wanted to like maybe be a little bit more serious, but I think also during that time, it was actually not during that time. It was in 2009 that they changed the Cinegrill to. I really want to talk about this.
Oh yeah.
To a kind of a vaudeville act.
Yeah, it was like a cabaret vaudeville style.
Where all the celebrities will come, and it was called what was it called? Beecher's Madhouse.
Madhouse, yeah.
Beecher's Madhouse. I have no words.
It's oh my goodness. Oh yeah. So lots and lots of celebrities were spotted there, like Miley Cyrus, Selena Gomez. It was an act where it featured a lot of impersonators of celebrities, but their kind of what made them stand out and special was that they were little people doing the impersonations. So there was a band that was a mini Kiss, and there was like a mini Lady Gaga, and they would have the performers like swoop in on tracks hanging from the ceiling to deliver the drinks to people's tables. It was just
They had a mini Donald Trump.
oh my goodness. Really?
There's a video. We're gonna make sure everyone gets to see this, but it looked like a grand old time.
It looked like everyone was having a blast.
Yeah,
for sure.
and
it was definitely like an adult themed circus.
Oh yeah. I think a lot of things went down there that probably people don't want to get out in, the tabloids.
Yeah.
I wonder. I got a lot of thoughts on that one. It looked like a lot of fun though. I wish it was there.
Yeah, and it happened. There was one here, and then they also.
I think it originated this guy Jeff Beechers, because I literally Wikipedia this while we were looking before, and he started this. It was in Vegas, and then they did a tour of the Beechers Madhouse, and they went to LA and he stayed there for a little bit, and then I think they brought it back to Vegas. I'm not sure it's still around.
It didn't look like they had done anything since like 2017,
like
2018.
I mean, it looks like it's meant to be in Vegas.
Yeah.
I'm sad if it doesn't exist.
Yeah,
anymore.
I know. And it's where they would hold this in what is now the movie theater in the Roosevelt. Yeah. In the Cinegrill area.
It's a Cinegrill. I always want to say Cinegrill. I don't know why. The Cinegrill.
So that space has seen some interesting things.
Oh my God. I really want them to bring it back. We should ask them. Be like, just one more time.
Just one night only. One night only.
Or something, because it is a great space. And it makes sense to have like old movies but I feel like because it is a theater, I think they have comedy shows there. They do. I think they use the space pretty well. But if they can bring back the Scandal just for us to be invited, that'd be great. So another thing, a lot of after parties would take place there. A lot of rap parties. That 70s show, their season finale was held there in 2006. This I thought was interesting, but sometimes the Razzie Awards have been held there. I don't know how often that happens, but I'm sure no one attends because no one wants to be nominated for the worst film ever. And Jimmy Kimmel would often uses the hotel for stuff for his show, or he gives like a giveaway to stay at the hotel.
Gives it as an award. Yeah, I think he has a show, or he has a competition on his show where he takes two people who are staying in a hostel, and they have to compete and whoever wins gets to stay at the Hollywood Roosevelt, which is such a bummer for whoever doesn't win to have to just keep staying in that hostel.
There are a couple of hostels that are close by, like even on the strip. Yeah. Oh my God, who would stay there?
I don't know. That I've only ever walked past the door and gone, oh, those poor souls.
I wonder how cheap. It must be really cheap then, because you would have to pay me to stay there. Yeah. That looks disgusting.
Yeah, it doesn't look nice or fun.
Like, hostels are not a thing here, which I think they should be.
Yeah, they should be. They should.
But why isn't it a thing in the US? Because I mean, like, it's not quite like an Airbnb because you're not renting a room, you're renting a bed.
A bed, yeah.
I guess it's dangerous, but
Well, because I know, like, I don't know if they're still around, but I know, like, in Portland and Seattle, I think that they
but it's not
had hostels.
It's not that common.
No,
and it's expensive for what it is, I think. And I don't know. I don't hear anyone like, yeah, I'm staying at a hostel when they come to LA, except my cousin. He did. But he stayed at my house too. And then I'm like, you need to get out. I'm kidding. But that's sad because it's on the same street as the Roosevelt.
I can't even imagine having this carrot dangled in front of you. Yeah.
Jimmy Kimmel, come on. You can afford 2 people to go stay at the hotel.
Exactly. Just let them both stay there.
Yeah.
I've never actually watched one of those competitions, so for all I know, he really does. And if he does, well, then I apologize and I retract my statement.
Yeah. Sorry.
Another, speaking of people who have been on Jimmy Kimmel, another almost guest of the Roosevelt was, does anybody remember Kai, the hatchet-wielding hitchhiker from his viral video back in 10 years ago?
I only knew this from, 1, you just told me, but 2... from the Netflix show that just came out. Yeah, but I didn't even watch it.
That's why I know about it, is from the Netflix documentary. But my boyfriend remembers it whenever it came out. Apparently it was a huge viral video. I somehow missed it. I don't know what I was doing in 2013 that I missed it, because it was all over YouTube. It was all over the news. Yeah, so Kai, or he called himself Kai, his name was Caleb. He was for a brief shining moment, he was a national hero who, because he was a hitchhiker in this vehicle, and apparently the driver of the vehicle went like crazy and was like, they were smoking weed, and he started saying something like, "I'm Jesus Christ," and I'm in charge now, and he basically ran his vehicle into a guy and pinned him up against a pole or something. Yeah, and so, these 2 women see it happen and run over to try to help the guy, and the driver gets out of the car and starts like choking one of the women. So Kai gets out of the car, and he's carrying a hatchet with him.
Well, okay, that's suspicious.
As one does. I mean, if you're a hitchhiker, you probably need something for protection. A hatchet is an interesting choice.
You know what, that wouldn't be the thing I would be carrying. Sounds very heavy.
So he hits the driver on the back of the head a few times to get him to let go, and then is interviewed on the news. This news clip goes viral. He's a national hero for saving this woman's life. The driver of the car is arrested and later convicted and sent to prison. And then so Kai gets invited to go on Jimmy. Once they find him, it takes them a minute to find him because he's a hitchhiker. So he just kind of disappeared back into the sunset. But they finally get a hold of him, and the producers, I believe, of Keeping Up with the Kardashians want to do a reality show with him. So they go pick him up and bring him back to LA, and to get him to sign the contract to do this. And he's invited to go on Jimmy Kimmel, which he does. He has a 2-night appearance. But before he goes on Jimmy Kimmel, they check him into the Roosevelt Hotel. That's where he's going to stay. Before he even makes it into the hotel, he has already peed on the sidewalk on the Walk of Fame outside.
He smells so much like pee. Why does he have to add to it?
I know. Maybe he saw someone else doing it and was like, that looks like fun. I'll join in.
What everyone does on Hollywood Boulevard.
That's what everyone does on Hollywood Boulevard. So, the people he was with were like, "Oh my God, what are you doing?" So they get him to stop. They take him. They get him checked into his room. Apparently, he walks into the room, and they're in the bar in the room. It's not a mini bar. It's like full-sized bottles of alcohol. He just grabs a bottle of Jack and starts chugging it, basically. And they're like, "Okay, whoa, chill out." He grabs his skateboard and goes and starts skateboarding on the original tiles that are still in the lobby from 1927. And that's when the security has enough, and they're like, "You're out of here." And so they kick him out, and I don't think he actually spends a night in the hotel.
Was he on the show though?
Yeah, he was on the show. He had a 2-night run on the show.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And you can see he's being very weird on the show. And Jimmy Kimmel is very good with it. He just kind of like keeps it moving. And, yeah. And then, of course, a few months later, he is charged and convicted of murder. So now he's no longer a national hero. He's
Oh my God. I'm sure the guests of the hotel at the time were relieved when they heard that. They're like, oh, thanks for not letting him stay there.
Exactly.
Oh my God. This hotel has seen a lot and has taken a lot of abuse.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about our experience when we went there.
We had such a great time.
It was I was
so
not
much
expecting it to be that good.
Yeah, I didn't really know what to expect. I've walked by it a million times. I have never actually been inside. And I was really surprised how many things that they have available to the public that you don't even have to be a guest there.
No.
Like all the restaurants that you mentioned. They have a bar upstairs on the mezzanine called The Spare, which has a 2-lane vintage bowling alley that you can play.
Yeah, I've been there before. I've been there. My friends and I have hung out there. But the first time I was there, I went on a date. So what happened was I lived really close by because I lived on Hollywood and Highland, and I had this like blind date or hinge date or whatever date, and I got my friends, my roommates, to walk me there and be like, listen, stay here, gotta make sure it's not a creep. They were in the lobby, and I went and I texted them like, okay, it's fine. It didn't go anywhere. I was not into this guy, but the date was nice because we got to sit and go and to this bar, and the cocktails were really fun, and we saw like people bowling. It turns out to be like $100 to bowl an hour or something.
Oh my gosh,
it's really expensive.
That's a lot.
Yeah, but then you can just go to the lobby and listen to jazz and for free, and you can
their lobby
out.
is so nice
Their
to sit in.
really
Yeah,
nice.
The lobby had a bar as well, didn't it?
The lobby had a bar, and before that nightclub that they have now, which is called Teddy's, used to be a bar as well. And I went there with my friends, I think. I've been there a few times. It changed. But when we went there, so we go in and we go straight to the spare room, and they have a private event. And we'd like to just apologize
to San Antonio film
in advance to San Antonio, the city. They were like, are you here for the event? And I just was like, yes, we are. And they said, okay, what's your name? We gave them our names thinking we had to be on a list. We didn't. They just wrote it down. And they're like, you're here, you're media, right? And we're just like, yeah, we're media. We go in. We were not media, or we're not the media for them.
Yeah, we weren't the media
we were our media. And they were so nice, and they had free wine, a wine tasting, and they had cheese and food, and we hung out, and we had a great time.
It was great. Yeah, well, and I'm from Texas, so I knew the area.
We got a lot. They loved us.
Yes,
I
knew like the winery that was there serving wine was just wonderful. I will definitely find
what's
its
the do
name.
You remember that?
I have a picture of it. I'll have to find its name.
Okay, we should definitely
they
talk
were
about them.
So lovely.
Give them some ad space. We're really sorry, but we're not that sorry, obviously.
It was great.
It was great.
Sorry,
I think
not sorry.
also you guys did your job because we're talking about you, so
Exactly.
it worked. And I think their whole thing was to get more film people into San Antonio, right?
Right.
I've never been. I want to go. It sounds really nice. The wine was good.
Yeah, so it's called Rooted Urban Winery.
Oh yeah, and they had it was really cool because they put their wine in bottles.
Oh yes, like crawlers. I
like
think
crawlers,
they're called.
right?
Yeah.
So it was really interesting.
Yeah, very sustainable. A lot of their customers, send the crawlers back so that they can be sanitized and used again. So they don't use nearly as much glass product as other wineries. So I thought that was so cool.
Yeah, and we're not sponsored by them.
We are not. We'd like to be. If you would like to
We'd
send
like
us
to be.
some wine,
But we
please
just-
contact hotelhistorypodcast@gmail.com.
We're doing our best to make up for the fact that we totally just crashed this
your
private
event.
event.
Absolutely.
And after that, we went and we discovered that because we were on the mezzanine level, there's the secret door to the, I guess, whatever area, the mezzanine level of the ballroom where the candlelit concert was happening, and we got a free concert.
Oh yeah, because we stepped out onto the balcony and we were like, oh, there's music. Let's watch.
Yeah, we could have just like sat there and chilled.
Yeah.
I mean, eventually maybe someone would have found us.
Oh,
but...
and inside the spare, there is a secret photo booth.
Oh yeah, the secret
across
photo booth.
across from the bar. There's a really cool seat, which it was down unfortunately when we were there, but it was really cool.
We still got photos.
Yeah.
I mean, on our own phone, but
Exactly.
yeah. So we got to sneak into this. Well, we crashed this event. We snuck into the concert, and then we went downstairs and we started talking to the security guard. And he was really nice, and he basically gave us
a little tour,
a private tour
Yeah.
of all the places that no one could go. And then he got us to talk to the manager, who then gave us a private tour of some of the suites, the Gable and Lombard suite.
Yeah, we got to see the penthouse. Suite. We got to see the Prince suite. Took us onto the roof. And then offered to take our picture up there. Just so nice.
They were so
just
nice.
so wonderful.
And then also we went to see the Cinegrill, and they were really nice. We kind of made believe we were going to go see a movie, but maybe next time, like, again.
Yeah, we're definitely going to go see a movie there.
And
we
then,
just didn't have time that night.
Yeah. And they gave us free popcorn anyways.
Yeah.
And it was really, really nice. Everyone was so incredibly sweet and like accommodating to our little...
to people who clearly were not staying at the hotel.
Yeah. I think the guy was like, so you're staying here? And I'm like, I want to.
Yeah.
I want to stay here. I think they knew, but
I must have been a slow night. They were happy to.
It was bustling.
It wasn't
there was a ton
slow.
of people
there. The concert was packed. The restaurants were packed. The lobby bar was packed.
I got some stares from because I was just sticking my head in the restaurant. And they were like, "What are you doing?"
Oh, there's also a bar by the pool as well.
Oh yeah.
So there's so many places that you can hang out and eat
and walk
drink
around
in this place. Yeah, and out next to the pool was really pretty.
It was
so
really
that was
nice.
a great place. That would be a great place to sit and have a cocktail.
And you can also just like the art and the memorabilia exhibited all over the hotel. It was really gorgeous. Everyone was so nice. I honestly am quite surprised.
Yes. And so, if you want to stay at this hotel, it's very reasonable. Some of their their smaller rooms are like $250 a night.
Yeah, that sounds so bad. I thought it was going to be more expensive, but it also makes sense because it's on the boulevard. That's not like the nicest.
Yeah, Hollywood Boulevard is very loud at night. So.
It's loud, and because anyone can come in, it kind of makes it less exclusive, but it makes it fun.
Yes.
Hollywood's a lot of fun if you don't live there. That's my belief. I love Hollywood. So many things to do, and it's walkable, but it definitely gets sketchy, and it's loud, and just don't live there.
Yeah. But visit.
I've lived there. That's why I'm saying this, but yeah, visit. This hotel had amazing history, and I'm sure we have not. There's no way we covered everything.
No, I imagine there are so many stories that have happened there that nobody is privy to.
Oh my God, all the celebrities that come and stay there. And just, I remember I was living in Hollywood when they were filming Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and they changed the whole entire boulevard, and they wouldn't tell me the movie. I was like, okay, whatever, I'll just Google it. But I think they went as far as the Roosevelt. I think they changed, and I'm sure that when they premiered at the Chinese Theater and they had their after party, it just
the after party was at the Roosevelt. I remember
that's what he said, right?
Told us that.
Okay. I knew it had something to do. There was a connection there. So this hotel has seen a lot, a lot of ghost stories that don't make sense. I have my theory about Marilyn Monroe. We know she would be haunting the White House. She would not be haunting the Roosevelt Hotel.
Yeah, or at least like her mansion in Brentwood, the place where she died.
I think she would want to avoid it.
Maybe.
I
think she would want to avoid this plane altogether. I don't think she's haunting shit.
But think about why she'd be haunting the White House. That would be the one place where she'd be like, no. I got some, beef.
Unfinished business.
Unfinished business, yeah. And I'm always like, she would have been there when Bill Clinton was there. And if she was really a ghost, there's no way she would have let that shit happen. That's all I'm going to say. You know, like, let her rest in peace. Yeah. So that's the Roosevelt.
That's the Hollywood Roosevelt.
Yeah. If we missed anything or if you have any questions, please feel free to email us at hotelhistorypodcast@gmail.com. If you want to direct message us, there are a lot of animals going around right now.
If you have heard
there was howling
and howling,
and
it's
yelling.
not. I promise my place is not haunted. It's just the animals. My cat has the zoomies right now.
Yeah.
My other cat was yowling for his dinner earlier. So yeah, that's what that is.
Yeah. Okay, sorry that we were rudely interrupted by all the animals, but I see your dog. Oh no, that's Java. Okay, sorry. Again, email us with questions. Follow us on Instagram at Hotel History Podcast, and direct message us if you want. Listen to us on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, on Google Podcasts, on Stitcher.
Mostly wherever podcasts are found.
Yeah, all the podcast places, and we're also on Twitter and TikTok. So Twitter, we're Hotel History Pod at Hotel History Pod, and then TikTok, we are Hotel History.
Yeah.
Please follow and support us any way you can, if you want.
Yes, and we're coming in at under an hour and a half, so we did it, a short one.
Finally, you're welcome.